Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something that is literally the heartbeat of teaching and honestly, personal growth in general. It's a word we throw around every single day, but we rarely stop to actually dissect it. That word is learning. Because think about it. Before anyone can effectively teach or guide someone else, we have to really grasp what this concept actually means at its core. Is it just, memorizing a bunch of facts? Is it getting an A on a test? Or is there something way deeper happening beneath the surface? Well, today, we are going to look at learning from two distinct but completely intertwined angles: the journey of how it happens and the destination of what it ultimately produces. Here is our roadmap for today. First up, what exactly is learning? Second, the journey, also known as the learning process. Third, the destination, which we call the learning outcome. And finally, we'll put process and outcome head-to-head to see exactly how they compare.
Section 1. What exactly is learning? Let's lay down our foundation.
I want to throw this question directly at you. What really is learning? I mean, if you had to define it right now, no dictionaries allowed, what would you say? It's tricky, right? We so often confuse learning with simply growing up or just reacting to the world around us. But in educational psychology, it actually has a very specific structural meaning. Okay, so here's the formal definition, and what's really fascinating here is the precision of it. Learning is a relatively permanent change in behavior, knowledge, or understanding that happens because of experience or practice. Pay close attention to what learning is not. If a baby grows taller, that's just physical growth, not learning. If a super bright light hits your eye and you flinch or blink, that's an innate reflex. Again, not learning. Or if you're just totally exhausted and feel sleepy, that's a temporary biological state. To truly be defined as learning, the change has to be relatively permanent, meaning it really sticks with you, and it absolutely must be the direct result of practice, experience, or interacting with your environment.
To see what this actually looks like in the real world, let's look at something almost all of us have been through. Check out this timeline. It's June, and a Class 3 child cannot tie their shoelaces. It's a daily, frustrating morning struggle. Then July rolls around. This is the experience phase. Through daily practice at home and getting some hands-on help from an elder sibling, they are actively interacting with their environment. Fast forward to August, and boom, they're confidently tying their laces every single morning, totally unassisted. That exact transition, from not being able to do it to doing it confidently and permanently, is the literal definition of learning in action.
Moving on to Section 2, the journey, the learning process, and how it happens.
So the crucial takeaway here is that when we refer to learning as a process, we're talking about an ongoing journey. And let me tell you, it is a messy, continuous how. It's a lifelong trek, right? It doesn't just magically switch on when you walk into a classroom and switch off when you leave. It demands active participation. The learner is in there thinking, trying, questioning, practicing. They're interacting with their surroundings, their teachers, their materials. And it happens gradually. It's all about small steps, trial, error, and correction. But here's the catch. This process is largely invisible. It's happening inside the learner's mind, so you can't always see the mental gears turning as a student tries to make sense of a completely new concept.
Let's put a face to this with a classic classroom scenario. Imagine a student trying to wrap their head around fractions. This is definitely not an instant download of information into their brain. First, they're actively cutting a paper circle into pieces. They are physically interacting with the materials. Second, they try to add 1/2 and 1/3 and, well, they mess it up. They make errors. That's the vital trial and error phase. Third, the teacher steps in, offers a correction, and the student retries using a visual diagram. All of these chaotic, gradual steps, cutting, comparing, making mistakes, getting corrected, trying again, that is the active, ongoing process of learning fractions. All right, Section 3, the destination, the learning outcome. What actually changes?
Now, if the process is this gradual, kind of invisible journey, how do we actually know when we've arrived? Well, when we talk about learning as an outcome, we're talking about the destination. The outcome is the what. It's highly observable. You can literally see a correct answer on a page or witness a brand new skill being performed right in front of you. It's measurable, whether that's through marks, grades, or just spotting a permanently changed habit. The outcome is the manifestation of new knowledge, skills, attitudes, or values that the learner simply didn't have before. Ultimately, it's the hard, undeniable evidence that the invisible process we just talked about actually did its job. It's exactly what teachers are looking for when they hand out a test or evaluate a project.
So, bringing back our student who was battling those paper fractions earlier, here is the payoff. After weeks of snipping paper circles, making plenty of mistakes, and receiving feedback, they sit down for a test. Without a single hint or nudge, they correctly solve that 1/2 plus 1/3 equals 5/6. That correct answer, that is the outcome. It's the visible, accurate, and lasting ability to add those fractions. It's the tangible trophy at the end of their long journey of learning.
Section 4. Process versus outcome compared. Two sides of a single coin.
This breakdown is a fantastic way to tie everything together. If we look at their core meaning, the process is the journey, while the outcome is the destination. Simple enough, right? Looking at the focus, the process is all about the experience, the practice, and the interaction. The outcome, on the other hand, zeroes in on the new knowledge, skill, or behavior. By its very nature, the process is ongoing, it's gradual, and it's mostly hidden away inside the learner's mind. The outcome is a visible snapshot, locked to a specific point in time, like test day. And honestly, this next part is a game changer for educators. Look at the teacher's role. During the process, a teacher has to be a guide, facilitating and giving feedback. But when we shift to the outcome, the teacher puts on their evaluator hat to assess and test that final change.
And that perfectly tees up this foundational concept in educational philosophy. Process and outcome are absolutely not opposing forces, they are quite literally two sides of the exact same coin. Think about it. A wise teacher doesn't just glance at the final answer to see if a student wrote down 5/6. They watch how the kid arrived there. Why? Because watching the process is what tells the teacher exactly where the student needs support next. Actually, this is so absolutely crucial that major educational frameworks like the NCF 2005 and the NEP 2020 explicitly mandate this. They demand that assessments evaluate a learner's growth and effort over time, the whole process, rather than just slapping a judgment on them based solely on their final marks, which is just the outcome.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. Why should a teacher pay attention to both the process and the outcome, and not just the final test scores? Think about the kid tying their shoelaces. Think about the messy paper fractions. If we only obsess over the destination, we are completely blind to the struggles, the aha moments, and the critical feedback loops that actually make the journey of learning possible. Understanding both sides of this coin is what takes us from simply transferring information to creating true, lasting education. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep your eyes open for the hidden processes behind every outcome you see out there.